They love skateboarding down the pole. They use this ramp so much, they wore the carpeting out.
5 years ago, the town of Guthrie, Oklahoma, had a problem. Downtown streets and church parking lots were being invaded by teenage skateboarders.
One by one, signs were going up.
Guthrie wanted to ban skateboarding completely.
Some of those things are just derived out of fear. They don't understand it.
About the same time, First United Presbyterian Church in Guthrie also had a problem.
Where are the youth? Where are the youth? We're going to die out.
The only youth at the church were the skateboarders in the parking lot.
You would drive up and these children were, everywhere.
They had every color of hair you could imagine.
You have piercings that you just,
We humans look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. So is your daddy back home now?
I don't know.
Increasingly, Rogers was bothered by her own negative judgments of the kids in the parking lot. So she decided to get to know them.
I'd sit down out here and watch them for a while and have conversations with them. Well, happy belated birthday. It was amazing to me how wrong my perception was of them.
Rogers began to share from the pulpit what she was learning about the kids, most of whom were unchurched. Then one Sunday morning, she challenged her congregation.
You've been asking about where are the youth? Where are the youth? And the youth are right out in the parking lot. You keep shooing them away because you don't want them skateboarding around here.
Rogers asked the church to pray for the skateboarders and to become more godlike in how they treated them, based on how Jesus described a father responding to his two sons in Luke 15. The son who had left decided to return home. While he was still far off, his father, full of compassion, ran and put his arms around him and kissed him. To the son who had stayed home and was upset, the father said, "Son, you're always with me. All that is mine is yours."
Would you like to lead us in prayer?
Sure.
Members of First Church did begin to pray. They started working together on ways to support these kids, starting with a weekly meal.
Eventually, I started talking to them about, well, why don't you come in for, youth group? And lo and behold, one Thursday evening, they took me up on it, and they started bringing friends in.
A lot of the kids would come, and they'd be hungry. It started with a meal. I mean, you feed them physically, and then you're able to feed them spiritually after that.
And the next thing I know, I'm being asked, will you talk to the youth group as a whole about baptism?
Over the following weeks, Rogers baptized 11 skaters and their friends. None of them had grown up in the church.
I cannot describe the joy, that sacred, sacred privilege of baptizing them. And I guarantee you, I made sure every one of them got really, really wet.
Okay, that's a pretty deep friendship, isn't it? To love a person as much as you love yourself.
As the kids grew in their faith, how they were viewed in the community began to change.
Amen.
These are instruments that they play like a violin.
The kids in Guthrie now have their own skateboarding park, thanks in part to a group of Presbyterian women.
And our youth group has grown. Some are skaters, some are not skaters, but it recognized the importance of the youth within the community, to all youth within the community, and how we cared about them.
And First United Presbyterian Church is no longer asking, where are the youth?
I've never heard of 19-year-olds and infants being in the same group. We can hardly call it a youth group because we have everything in between, including some adults and babies.
I asked them, why do you guys come here? I will always remember one of those kids looking at me and saying, because we know we're loved.
As a result of that love, kids are bringing their younger siblings to youth group and encouraging friends like Lindsay McCaslin to bring her baby from an unexpected pregnancy.
I almost started crying because I expected them to just kick me out of the church, and it was totally opposite than what I thought it would be.
It's just like we're a family now. It's like a home away from home, pretty much. A lot of churches aren't like that.
Because of skateboarding, I started hanging out with friends that were here. If it wasn't for this church, if it wasn't for the church family, I mean, I'd be nothing right now.
Evangelism is really about loving and caring and welcoming people, being God's heart. God is working miracles in people's lives, and God is working through the Presbyterian Church.